Well, how do there, people in the viewerverse? 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, I enjoyed the crowning of our new king. Now, I put a video out there, people, of us going to a street party, and I had a couple of comments saying that I couldn't care less about the king and all that sort of shenanigans, which I do understand that sort of sentiment. In fact, before I met Ivy, I wasn't really into the royal family. I could have taken them or leaving them, really. But then, after seeing how a foreigner, Ivy, saw the royal family and all the pomp that comes with it, I mean, that's how the outside world view England. And to be honest, that's not a bad view. I mean, if you think about it, that royal family is quite a good representation of any family inside of the UK in a roundabout way. Now let's look at it another way though. I mean, what makes us English? I would say the royal family is a big staple inside of that. Crown also goes well with the church, and also the religion thereon of the Christian faith. And as we know, the Christian faith is dwindling rather rapidly here in the UK, and other faiths are skyrocketing in place. The East End of London doesn't have hardly any Cockneys left anymore. Cockney rhyming slang could be a thing of yesteryear and written into the pages of history and disappeared completely, which I also saw as a big staple of our heritage. And another thing that the royal sort of help with is national heritage and also sites of interest. I mean, they have many royal establishments up and down the country, which I'll get onto in a bit. Now, there were those out in protest saying not our king, and saying that they would rather have a president of the UK rather than have a monarchy, because they see it as being archaic. They kind of see that the last royal, the Queen, after she passed, they don't really serve any purpose anymore. And with the actual UK struggling to give nurses a decent pay rise, now is not the time to be having all this pomp and ceremony. And I do see their point when it comes to that. But at the same time, I also see the royal family as being a source of income for our nation and for England. And when I say for England, I mean Scotland has got rolling hills, beautiful lochs, amazing scenery, some mountains and all sorts of other stuff, and the Loch Ness Monster that people go there to see. Wales, again, it's got a massive swathe of beautiful landscape and the beautiful reasons to go there. Whereas, and Cornwall, England, what has England got really going for it other than the royal family as a tourist attraction? I mean, are people going to come here to go to Skegness or to go visit Butlins from overseas? Probably not. I mean, it's a decent destination for us folks that live here, but let's face it, the main tourist attraction for England is the royal family. Without it, well, I guess people could go to Alton Towers. The sound off in the comments, let us know where you would go. But all these national heritage and maintained well for tourists. So if I'm being brutally honest with you, I'm not a massive fan of Prince Charles, I'm really not. You know, if he was still with Diana, perhaps, because she'd done so much charitable work, but I don't know enough about Camilla. But anyways, I even pronounced the name wrong. You know, I kind of wish that the crown missed Charles and went to William and Kate. I think they would make a much better monarch, and also appeal perhaps to the younger audience, because they know William and Kate far better than Charles. But then saying that, titles would need to be passed on, wouldn't they? So the titles that are now held by some of the royals would be passed on to William and Kate's offspring, their children, which are children. And they can't carry those titles. So if anything was to happen to William and Kate, you know, it just wouldn't work out. So I kind of see Charles as a little bit of a stopgap. And I don't think it's going to be a long one. We could be having another coronation in 10 years, let's face it. But at the end of the day, I think the royal family serve a massive purpose. I mean, without them, who's going to knight people? How are we going to have sirs and lords and all that sort of grand stuff that also go with the UK? There's so much more than just the royals at risk here. So I think it's a sense of identity, a cultural staple of being English or being part of the United Kingdom, because the royal family do that too. They hold everything together with all of their titles. with Scotland, Wales and Cornwall, which their icons and their flags were all over the place during today's ceremony, people. And also the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth flags were there, and Charles even asked for representation for female bishops and trying to be more inclusive of all religions inside of today's festivities. And you know what? I kind of feel that that's well needed. And I kind of feel that Charles has put a step in the right direction. He may have put a few noses out of joint, asking that everybody retake the oath to the king, but it is what it is. I thoroughly enjoyed the day, and that's my take on the royal family and on Charles and of today's events and festivities, just so I can put my point across, because I have had a couple of comments where people are like, couldn't care less for it. I just thought I'd put my 2 cents out there, people. Thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye, and goodbye again.